Many Russian girls and also girls from former Soviet countries brag on social media that they easily find husbands abroad, even if they were considered a six in their homeland. The reason is that a six at home magically turns into a 10 after crossing the border into any Western country. Some of these women run blogs claiming to prove that every Slavic woman, even those over 30, divorced with a child and without a good job, can find a husband who will provide for her, and that they will live happily together. According to their stories, this isn't just a myth, but reality. Greetings from Russia, guys! My name is Natasha, and in this video, I will discuss why some divorced Russian women move abroad in search of a new husband, and why some of them find partners in foreign countries more easily than at home. I'd like to start today's discussion with a true story about my friend. She is about 30, attractive, but has been divorced for 2 years and has a son from her first marriage. The reason for the divorce was her husband's addiction. Since last year, she has been dating a new guy who is somewhat abusive and treats her poorly. He insults her, doesn't have a job, and has even broken up with her several times. When I asked her why she tolerates his behavior, she answered that she's worrying she won't find anyone better because she's a разведёнка с прицепом. A derogatory Russian slang phrase that means something like a divorced woman with a trailer. It's important to say that I don't want to hurt anyone, and I don't support such offensive behavior toward any woman. Unfortunately, divorce happens. There are many reasons why a couple cannot save their relationship, but I should clarify that people here tend to enter official marriages more quickly, while people in the West often date for many years without marrying. Here it's normal to marry and have a child after just a year of dating. One consequence of this mindset is a high number of divorced women and men. According to official statistics, 95% of children live with their mothers after a divorce. Shared custody isn't common practice. Fathers usually spend time with their kids when they have free time, but not necessarily every weekend. It's important to clarify that not all single mothers are permanently single or undesirable as partners. This is simply not true. However, in Russia, there are more women than men. Official statistics show a ratio of about 63% women to 37% men. Consequently, local men have a wide variety of women to choose from. Interestingly, these men often have high demands, even if they themselves are not particularly handsome, wealthy, or independent, sometimes still living with their moms. Many want to date a woman who looks like a top model but treat her like an old ladder. Regarding the derogatory term for a divorced woman with a child, it's obvious that some men don't want to date or marry a woman with a child from a previous relationship. The main reason is that they don't want to spend money and time on kids that aren't their own. Of course, not all men think this way, but those who do are not uncommon either. Write in the comments, would you date a single mom? Maybe you have had such an experience. Do you think having a child is always a problem, or if you really like the woman, would you accept her child as well? Knowing about this stereotype and the prejudice some men from former Soviet countries have, single mothers sometimes aim to meet a foreign man. I don't know exactly how it works, but according to popular blogs on TikTok and Instagram, some Slavic women claim they easily find husbands abroad even with a child or 2 kids. These bloggers say Western men don't see it as a big problem and that there is a wide variety of men interested in dating them. The main thing, in their opinion, is to take care of yourself, have a pretty face, dress femininely, and stay in good shape. To be honest, I don't know if it's true that dating a single mom is considered unremarkable in the West. But there is even a trend on TikTok where women over 40 with 2 or 3 children move abroad and find husbands quite easily. Meanwhile, nobody wanted to date them in their hometowns, and their relatives advised them to give up on relationships entirely. Moreover, they suggest that some men don't want children or already have adult kids, so they aren't looking for a newborn. They reason that if a woman doesn't have a child, she might want to get pregnant immediately, whereas a woman who already has a child, especially if it's a teenager and not a baby, requires less immediate commitment. It's also very important to mention that some of these women share how, after moving abroad, they realized they were much more beautiful than they had considered themselves to be back home. In my opinion, all women in the world are unique and there are beautiful women everywhere. I think it's less about appearance and more about mindset. For example, I admire how American women accept themselves. They choose to dress comfortably and feel confident in every outfit. Meanwhile, this attitude isn't as common in Russia. Here, people often judge your appearance, and local women are accustomed to paying more attention to their looks than many Western women do. Makeup, dresses, high heels, manicures, these aren't just for special occasions but part of the daily routine here. Perhaps that's why I often see comments praising the appearance of Russian women, which many find very striking and attractive. But as I've said before, I believe this is more about the effort you put into yourself than just natural beauty alone. To answer the question about why some local women want to find a foreign partner and move abroad, I would like to highlight a few key factors. First, it's not necessarily because life in Russia is bad and they want to improve their lifestyle. As in every country, there are people here who earn well and those who earn less. You've also seen in my videos and other similar blogs that real life is like here, and I should say that our towns look much better now than they did in the 90s and 2000s when a brain drain happened in former Soviet countries. This isn't propaganda, it's just a fact. Though I should also admit we aren't living in paradise and obviously have our own particular problems. Second, I recently received an interesting comment from one of my subscribers. The guy claimed that women move abroad with foreign men not only to succeed in a relationship, but also in their careers, because developed countries offer much more job opportunities. Unfortunately, I have to disappoint some of you. 99% of the women who move abroad to be with a foreign man expect him to provide financially. She doesn't plan to work. There are only two exceptions. The first is if you are both the same age. In this case, she might be willing to work, but even that doesn't apply in every situation. The second exception is if you are tall, handsome, muscular. Are you catching my drift? Women who come to America or Europe and work are mostly those who moved there with their Russian husbands or alone. So please don't harbor illusions. Even if a woman is a single mother but is still younger and attractive, she would likely expect you to be the provider. Because if she has to work anyway, she might as well stay in her hometown. Of course, there are exceptions. For instance, women who already live abroad and earn their own money. By the way, I've noticed they often date immigrants from former Soviet countries for some reason. Maybe a shared mindset makes sense, or it's easier to speak your native language with your partner. It's actually difficult for me to judge because I never lived abroad and never dated a foreigner. And I never even went out with a foreign man. Guys, that's all I wanted to share with you in this episode. Hopefully you liked it. If you have enough time, like this video, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. I wish you nice Christmas and Happy New Year. Have a nice day, and God bless you.